fast growing, fast moving, with a desire for equally fast gratification. The rising disposable incomes and purchasing power of the middle class have made the country a ripe market for everything, from luxury brands to designer homes. But there is another fatal fix added to the list now. The lure of addiction is not an upper-class sport anymore. Drugs in all its forms has the middle class in its clutches now. The temptation to trip, the desire to lose oneself. It is all a part of India's reality. And unfortunately, it has seeped deep into the middle class fabric. But it all boils down to access now. And the virtual world is the new peddler.
The mysterious death of Anmol Sarna has again showed the rampant use of drugs like LSD among youngsters. In next 30 minutes, we will show how easy it's to buy drugs and psychotropic substance and how technology has made it very tough for law enforcing agencies to curb this menace.
Last month, the national capital woke up to the harsh reality of this deadly addiction. Anmol Sarna, a 21-year-old NRI student, lost his life. He was allegedly consuming drugs at a party in a friend's flat and was beaten up by 2 security guards in a South Delhi apartments complex. But even if it appeared as an open and shut case, the investigations into the source of the drug consumed by Anmol and his friends has unearthed an astounding trail.
In the past also, and only recently on 1st of October, we have seized 200 kgs of pseudoephedrine, and along with that we arrested 3 persons who were smuggling these things through the northeastern states to China and Myanmar. They were getting it manufactured in illegal manufacturing units somewhere in Muzaffarnagar and such other places, and they had through Delhi they were sending it to northeastern states.
Recent probe by NCB has shown that fine quality Colombian cocaine is smuggled into Mexico and then to Nigeria. To hoodwink customs department officials, drug peddlers purposely leave their luggage once they arrived in India. Then few days later, they call up airlines saying that their baggage has been misplaced.
Policemen say the psychedelic drug was ordered online by a Noida-based master supplier and arrived through courier from China, hidden inside books and greeting cards. In fact, Anmol's friend procured the drug from his Beijing-based contact, and the payments were made through a money transfer device. The LSD sheet was hidden inside books and then couriered to Delhi and Noida.
The world over, people use computers more than mobile phones. In India, our usage of mobile phones is higher than most parts of the world. And hence, complex technologies like proxy servers are a no-no for our mobile phone population. So if you want to buy drugs in India, you don't have to go through a complex process of setting up IP addresses, proxy servers. All that you do is you use your mobile phone, you go to social media sites. Now, you've already decided there that there are certain code words you would use, like for example, animal cruelty or world peace, or making the world a better place.
Since we know that it is life-threatening, even 1 out of 100 of these youngsters, if they get onto LSD, it would cause me concern. And yes, more than 1 out of 100 are definitely getting into it. As with any addiction, whether it's alcohol or drugs, what happens is that after some time, the effect starts reducing. You don't get the same kick as you were getting with whatever you've been using. So when that desperation sets in, you move on to the higher level. And again, there are peddlers who are willing to take you on that journey. And once they know that you are in the field and you have been their customer, they don't even mind giving you credit because they know how to extract their money. So even if this youngster does not have money, that does not prevent him from going into.
This is how sophisticated and well-oiled the machinery is.
While probing the Anmol Sarna's death, the Delhi police found that the LSD was purchased from China. The mail trail further showed that the drug was purchased not only from China but wire transfers were used to pay the dealer at least 3,000 to 6,000 US dollars.
Concealed, let's say, in the false bottoms are created in the suitcases. Recently, we saw even one case of drug being smuggled by scooping out the inside contents of almond, then filling it with heroin and again packing it. Drugs are smuggled, let's say, about 1 kg per person by when the person swallows those capsules. So he swallows when he starts from his point of origin. After he reaches Delhi or Bombay, then he ejects. So these swallowings are there. There have been cases where ephedrine has been mixed with rice. Recently we got the Australian police got it, of course, but then the material had gone from India. It's about 274 kg mixed with rice.
Anmol Sarna fell prey. But he is not the only youngster who is consuming these banned substances. The rot runs much deeper, and the access is only getting easier.
In our terminology, we call it internet pharmacy. We have also busted more than 10 internet pharmacies. Even recently, also we have busted one. The modus operandi there is that the seller of the drug has a web page in which he advertises. Then the buyer sends an email. The money is transacted through wire transfers or maybe paid by credit card. Then the drugs go by courier parcels. So it's only when it's a courier parcel then you get to catch. Otherwise you have to locate where they are operating from. So that will require a lot of cyber forensics to reach to the source and then bust it.
The use of banned drugs is not just limited to cities anymore. In fact, Punjab is the new market of drug trafficking across the border.
Because it is unaccounted money. And our election commissioner, I'd like to say, is just sitting like Gandhiji's monkeys. Yesterday was October 2, so somehow or the other, Gandhi's monkeys came up in my mind. They don't want to see drugs, they don't want to talk drugs, they don't want to hear drugs. And all this drug money is primarily being used for the purposes of elections, particularly in this state, and I'm sure the same must be positioned in other parts of the country.
While the illegal narcotics trade enjoys alleged political patronage, it also thrives inside prison houses, which are wrapped up in iron curtains, where the connivance of the prison staff enables smuggling of drugs inside the jails, which of course comes for a price. And any attempt at a crackdown on this nexus is beaten back by vested interests, which have huge stakes involved in this very lucrative business.
This isn't about rich boys scoring drugs or some poor farmers languishing quietly in the throes of an opium haze. The danger is clear and present.
Gone are the days wherein people would step out of their doorsteps to procure such kind of drugs. Internet has become such a handy vehicle wherein you can procure drugs. As in Anmol's case, LSD, it's easy to ship. It's just a sheet of paper, and the same cannot be done when it comes to ecstasy, which is a pill. Now this is on a safer side, LSD. Now there's a chunk of in the Indian population wherein they actually hesitate to go to the peddlers in order to procure drugs. There might be innumerable reasons for that, embarrassment or fear or any such kind of things. But yes, the kind of trend which is present abroad or overseas, it's actually catching up in India as well. There is a set of population in India who would be actually willing to choose such kind of options wherein procuring drugs from online. So this has been a vital tool in today's trend, and yes, I think this is going to inch up gradually.
And perhaps that is what makes it easier for them to procure, because all they have to do is they have some code words. I don't know, nobody has shared, and I didn't ask them. Because generally when we are consuming somebody, we don't want to go so deep that he gets scared and he runs off from us. But they say that there are certain code words which if you use and send to a particular like SMS is the most common that I have come across. You send a message to somebody with that code, and that guy tells you where to come and where to pick up or stuff like that.
Most of the addicts are between 15 to 35 years of age and have little idea of the damage.
What actually happens is that my friends, they knew the dens where all you get drugs. So through them, like first time, they just gave me a chase. What they did was they put brown sugar on the chillum and they made me have a puff. I like the euphoric effect that I got from it. And then I started asking them that, where did you get this from? And so they showed me the dens that you get it over here, you get it over there. And then I moved around with them and met the peddlers. I got introduced to the peddlers, and that's how I started getting it. Boys from all categories having it. It's not necessary that it's the rich or the middle class or the poor. It's all the segments. The rich, the middle class, the poor all have it.
In most of the cases, the victims get addicted to drugs just out of fun, and later it becomes a necessity in their life. And ultimately, they themselves become the drug peddlers to earn money and sustain their own requirement. The councillors blame it on the indisciplined lifestyle. They say the intensity of campaign against drug abuse has gone down over the years, but the number of victims has not really.
The majority, almost every third student, nearly 65% of the families are in the throes of a sweeping drug addiction.
Nowadays are reluctant to meet the peddlers as well as reveal their credit card details, because once they enroll themselves into social communities and websites, they get to know each and every piece of information about the events that are happening in the city, and moreover they tend to get along with the communities, get to know every detail about this rape. Once when they are there in that particular location or the venue, they get to know each and every bit of it, when it is happening, where it is happening. So all these whereabouts merge together, and this is the time wherein the public or this individual gets along with the community. He knows what exactly is happening, what to do, what not to do, and this actually promotes him to get into the chain of process, how exactly this procurement has to happen. So he can do anything there rather than meeting a peddler and wherein he gets into a lot of embarrassment or fear. So once when he starts mingling with such kind of social communities, it's easier for him to get into such kind of rapes.
I feel it is the factor of loneliness. The easier communication has become, the less we are emoting. We are not communicating at an emotional level. So there's so much of this thing, you are playing Scrabble with 10 friends all over the globe, or you are putting up things on the Facebook and all that. But when I really want that warm touch and this and that, I'm not getting it. And if I don't get it at home, if my parents, however much they love me, don't express their love and don't show me that I am loved and cared for, or don't have time to listen to me, they're judgmental, they're all the time pointing out, why aren't you doing this, why aren't you doing that, then I get dragged towards that company.
Where is all this coming from? Why have all forms of checks and balances failed to cure the menace?